Hey guys, my name is Shahir Shahid, and I'm reporting you live from our main database of what we believe who Satoshi Nakamoto is. I've been working on this for 3 to 4 months now, and I think I've finally figured it out. You can see right here the president of China, directly correlated with apparently the founder of Bitcoin, whose last name is Nakamoto, Donald Trump. We can see that Bill Gates is currently now single. So the correlation between somebody finding an alien in Nevada, which cryptocurrencies are in space, directly correlated with China, who happens to know Bill Gates. And not only that, guys, what I'm about to tell you next, you're gonna wanna listen to me very, 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 very carefully. The quadrant.
Matt just messaged a group asking if anyone is interested in investing in Bitcoin who hasn't done so already.
Try out and read his Bitcoin for Beginners E-Guide. He would put some money into our Shakepay account so that we can test and document what it's like to buy Bitcoin for the first time.
I just got the guide to Bitcoin, getting started with Bitcoin from Matt. It is really cool. I just read it all. Really interesting. There's a lot of information there.
And how fun is that? I just bought the first part of a Bitcoin.
The guide is pretty useful if you're new to cryptocurrencies. That is definitely a nice guide to have.
What's nice is it ends off with just letting you know some like social media Canadians for you to follow.
What is up, Canada? What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here. Really excited to be going live and appreciate you guys spending your Saturday with me to learn more about Bitcoin. We put a lot of effort and we're just really excited to bring you guys this. So essentially, I'll set some expectations right here. For the next hour, we're going to be learning and teaching you guys about Bitcoin, really hoping to demystify the process. And let me make sure that this live stream's working well. So if you guys can hear me, jump in there with a thumbs up or let me know that my audio is good. But again, really excited to be sharing this. The team's worked very hard to put this all together for you guys. We've got 2 free guides in the video description down below. So the first e-guide is going to be all about Bitcoin, and essentially just helping you learn how to go about acquiring your first fractional share of Bitcoin. And then if you want to also learn about Ethereum, Metamask, and maybe NFTs, we've got a separate e-guide for that. So again, completely free. There's no upsell. I just really want to share with you guys my excitement about this entire space. But I'm particularly excited about Bitcoin. And so first, I'm going to share a little bit about my Bitcoin journey, and then we'll get into everything. So back in 2017, 2018, I guess I'd call myself a little Bitcoin curious. We started doing a few YouTube videos on the channel. I brought on a few guys that were actually like programming on blockchain. I don't know if you remember, if you guys were watching back then, but I never really jumped into it in a serious way. And yeah, I just kind of fell by the wayside after 2018's bull run and never really did too much with it and never really stacked a lot of sats. And, you know, now in 2020, coming into 2021, I started really paying attention again, particularly in kind of March 2021, I guess. And, you know, all things being equal, I feel like I kind of got orange pilled in March 2021. That's really when I decided, you know what, I'm not really happy with what I see going on in the world. I think Bitcoin could end up actually being a great solution. So before we jump into everything we've got for you guys today, a few things that I just want to set expectations on. I'm not a Bitcoin expert. I'm not claiming to be the ultimate guru. I'm just a dude that's getting excited about this. And I want to share my excitement with my audience, with my friends, and with any random internet strangers that want to come along for the journey. So I hope you guys get value out of today's live stream. And I hope you enjoy the conference and the guides, because again, this is just kind of me sharing my passion. And so right now we can see, I kind of feel like Bitcoin's on sale when it's like $34,000, $35,000 USD. And again, I've got my block clock right there. But this isn't about you guys just throwing all your assets into Bitcoin right away. I just want to create some awareness, some familiarity, and hopefully make it easier for you to get started. And as well, we've got some fun, some humor, some skits. I hope you guys enjoy it. We don't do a lot of skits here. So again, if you guys enjoy it, let us know in the comments, because I'd love to play around and get better at this. But, you know, it's up to you guys, so let us know. And finally, I'm really happy that I've got my Problems and Profits jersey. So I hope you guys like that as well. But let's first talk about why Bitcoin matters. Why should you even care? Why should you want to get into it when Matt McKeever's been talking about real estate this entire time? Well, right now, I think there's a lot of us that aren't completely satisfied with where society, where the world, where everything's going on. And in fact, that's why I decided to call this conference SOS BTC. SOS stands for, in my opinion, stack or sink. If you're not stacking sats, if you're not slowly dollar cost averaging in or starting to pay attention to Bitcoin, I think whether it's 4 or 5 or 10 years from now, you may regret it. And BTC, Bitcoin Takeover Canada, because you need to stack or sink Canada, because things are not looking good. If you're following what's going on with our federal budget, our total debt, just everything going on, whether it's as a percentage of GDP or just total dollar amounts, I think we should be concerned about this. Or maybe you're just a real estate investor and you've seen the crazy inflation in real estate prices. Or maybe you've just been noticing inflation at the grocery store, or when you've gone to buy things like lumber or anything else of that nature, right? Things are getting a little crazy right now. I'm not trying to cause panic. I'm not saying you need to jump all into Bitcoin, but I think it seems pretty reasonable to want to start learning a little bit more about Bitcoin. Or maybe you're just kind of dissatisfied with the entire central banking system and fiat currency. Maybe you've started learning that, you know, there's people at the top that seem to make a lot more money, that really they get as close to that printing press as possible, and they just siphon off as much money as possible and don't necessarily care about the rest of us. Maybe you're concerned about 1984 or the World Economic Forum and their discussions of, you know, by the year 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. You know, you shouldn't want savings, you should want a job. You know, those are things that I think we should all be concerned about. And I know I definitely am. But, you know, don't even necessarily take my word for it. I want to share with you guys quickly here. I'm not going to share any audio, but just this clip here of Jack Mallers from the Bitcoin conference that was in Miami earlier this year. And if you guys haven't seen this clip, you absolutely need to see it. I'm going to be completely honest here. I started crying when I watched this entire thing, just because Jack's passion and what I believe the impact potentially that Bitcoin could have on the world is truly special. It feels like a once in a lifetime opportunity. And now I'm not talking about getting rich. I'm talking about changing the world. I'm talking about getting rid of the, you know, the central banking system, fiat currencies, starting to actually be able to trust in whatever currency you hold, that there's not just going to print another $1 billion. So they're not just going to make $1 trillion coin. And central banks, this doesn't just impact the middle class and Western societies. Central banks are increasingly taking actions that may cause harm to the economic stability of developing countries and emerging markets. And I think that's probably being generous when you use the word may cause harm. In fact, I think that they cause all kinds of crazy devastation. And again, I think it's important that we start thinking about taking control of our personal finances. I view Bitcoin and the Lightning Network, and we'll get into like details on this, guys. Don't worry, I'm not just going to ramble a bunch of things at you. But I think Bitcoin and the Lightning Network in particular, this is an opportunity for us to essentially become our own banks. And this just makes me so excited. So again, you know, don't just take my word for it. Go watch that video of Jack Mallers when you've got a chance, because it's just one of a kind. But in my opinion, a vote for Bitcoin, acquiring Bitcoin, is essentially a vote against tyranny. That's it, in my opinion. It's literally a vote against tyranny. Whether you don't like the fact that you're still under lockdown in Ontario, Canada, whether you just don't like the fact that you have to wear masks, or whether you don't like the fact that you're not allowed outside until 75% of people get a vaccine from one of two companies, it kind of feels like they're essentially saying, hey, you're not allowed outside until these companies make a shit ton of money. Now, again, that's probably a little unfair, but it really can feel like that at some points in time. But enough of that. Let's talk about what Bitcoin actually is. And so Bitcoin's this fascinating concept, fascinating technology. It's essentially, well, here, let me break it down for you a little bit. Well, I'm not going to break it down for you, but let's have Dan Held on Twitter break it down for us here. Now, you guys may not be able to read this, but you'll be able to track it down on the internet. It's pretty easy. But what's important here is I think a lot of people think of Bitcoin as essentially this one novel technology that was invented as a standalone thing. And in fact, it's a combination of different ideas, projects, different discoveries, and even things like BitGold, precursors to what we essentially know as Bitcoin. All these different aspects of both cypherpunks and all the different things in this space, whether you're a libertarian, whether you're an Austrian economist, all this kind of accumulated into Bitcoin in 2008. And so this is something that we kind of discuss as well in our beginner guide. So again, if you guys want, you can go and download this entire beginner guide for free. But I just wanted to take a quote here from the Bitcoin Standard. This is an amazing book. Really encourage you to listen to it on Audible or buy a physical copy if you want to learn more about Bitcoin and really understand, the fiat, understand currencies, the fiat system, as well as Bitcoin. But while Bitcoin is a new invention of the digital age, the problems it purports to solve, namely providing a form of money that is under the full command of its owner and likely to hold its value in the long run, are as old as human society itself. And absolutely, you guys have probably heard me talk about on my YouTube channel in the past, the rational optimist. The rational optimist also explores aspects of this in the book. And, if you've studied any Austrian economists, you're also familiar with the concept. But don't just take my word for it. What's wonderful about Bitcoin is you can actually just go and read the white paper. And now, I know at first reading a white paper maybe sounds a bit intimidating, but it's actually only 9 pages. So we're not going to read it here together right now. I'll leave you guys to go and do homework on your own, but really do encourage you to go read the white paper at some point in time. You can just go to bitcoin.org to grab it. Or again, we've got a link in the free e-guide and you can find your way there. But just really want to make sure that you guys understood that there's a lot of information out here, but it's also pretty easy to start consuming it. So looking back at this, you don't need to read every one of these aspects before you start stacking your first $100 worth of sats. But over time, as you get more familiar with it, I think it would be great to slowly go back. I'm slowly trying to go back and understand the entire pedigree of how Bitcoin came to be Bitcoin. And so again, these are just some amazing resources, and you can find that on Dan Held's Twitter there. So it's right there for you guys. But enough of that. Let's really talk about who created Bitcoin. And this is something people talk about all the time. And in fact, it's kind of a source at this point in time on the internet of all kinds of conspiracy theories. Now, I'm not convinced that it makes sense to even worry about who Satoshi is, the original creator of Bitcoin. Most people think or assume that name was just a pseudonym. Some people believe it's Hal Finley. He was on that chart that I was showing you guys earlier. But I don't think it actually matters at this point in time. But I didn't want to do you guys a disservice, so I did put Shahir from my team in charge of diving deep into who is Satoshi, because I knew you guys would want to know about it at home. So I think we've got a little bit of footage. We're just going to jump over to Shahir and let's find out who Satoshi is.
Alrighty, thank you, Matt. Hey guys, my name is Shahir Shahid, and I'm reporting you live from our main database of what we believe who Satoshi Nakamoto is. I've been working on this for 3 to 4 months now, and I think I've finally figured it out. You can see right here, the president of China, directly correlated with apparently the founder of Bitcoin, whose last name is Nakamoto. So hey, if that's not a correlation, you tell me what is a correlation. Stay with me here, okay? We go back to the moon, okay? Go to the moon, aliens, China, okay? Think back to the Egyptian times. You think we built the pyramids? No, we haven't built the pyramids. Look, he's connected with Putin, who happens to know the previous president of the United States, Donald Trump. We can see that Bill Gates is currently now single. So the correlation between somebody finding an alien in Nevada, which cryptocurrencies are in space, directly correlated with China, who happens to know Bill Gates. And not only that, guys, what I'm about to tell you next, you're going to want to listen to me very, 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 very carefully. The quadratic formula, okay? AX squared plus Bitcoin X, we're trying to solve for Bitcoin, plus C equals 0. Okay? All these different talking points, in my opinion, are factual. What do you think, Peter? Dude, what? I've done all the research I could. I went through the dark web. I've searched all the avatars that have possibilities Satoshi Nakamoto. Who even knows that he exists? Or if he was alive? What if it's an AI? I know it's a lot of information, but bear with me, bro. If I was to tell you I'm right, I'm right, man. I don't even know what to do with my life. I'm sweating. But I think I found the truth. Trust me when I say this. Once we find out who Satoshi Nakamoto is, our lives are going to change. We're going to find out everything about it. And since we're going to be the people that are going to be promoting it, we're going to have so much attention around it, and we can do whatever we want.
Dude, I don't care.
Maybe I'm Satoshi Nakamoto.
All right. Well, I really appreciate Shahir doing all the legwork there because I'm not sure I would have done it. But again, all that being said, I think we all kind of are Satoshi if we participate in Bitcoin. Whether that's you going out and stacking $100 worth of sats, whether that's you running your own Bitcoin node or Lightning node, I think what's really cool is we all have a chance to participate in history right now. But again, I'll leave you guys to confer whether you believe Shahir actually is Satoshi, because I'd hate to speculate on that. But I really do appreciate Shahir, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, smash the like button. But let's get into some common terms. So I want to make sure you guys understand what we're talking about before we start showing you exactly how to go about acquiring your first fractional share when it comes to Bitcoin. So I asked my buddy Tim to essentially jump on and break down for us some of the most common terms. And the reason I wanted Tim to do so is because when I think of Tim, I often think of cryptocurrency. He was one of the first people really in the real estate world to start talking to me about Bitcoin. In fact, there was kind of a moment in history, I think. If you guys didn't know, we were literally the first real estate limo tour to ever accept Bitcoin. And Tim was the first person to ever pay for a limo tour ticket, a Jeff Weibel limo tour ticket in Bitcoin. In fact, I believe that was Jeff's first fractional chip of Bitcoin. And so again, it's just so cool to be able to help each other participate in these ways. And I really appreciate what Tim's done. In fact, he's now starting his own website and really just, again, trying to help Canadians and really everyone in the world learn more about Bitcoin. And he's really dedicated himself to this entire concept. I know he spends a lot of time and energy watching and learning and just trying to help others understand this as well. So I'm really excited. We're going to pull up a couple of breakdowns of common terms when it comes to Bitcoin that'll hopefully help you guys have a better understanding of what we're talking about. And then we're going to jump into, actually getting our hands on some Bitcoin. So let's bring up this video and learn some common terms with Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim Felsky from Fi with Bitcoin, and I'm here to break down some key Bitcoin concepts for you. First up, BTC. BTC is the code or ticker symbol for the Bitcoin asset. And BTC is traded at over 500 exchanges around the world in almost every country. It's also traded indirectly on the TSX with exchange-traded funds, or ETFs, and closed-end funds that are eligible to hold in your tax advantage accounts like TFSAs and RRSPs. Next up, Satoshi. Satoshi is the name of the creator of Bitcoin. We don't know if that's a single person, a group of people, or an organization. A Satoshi or sat is also the smallest unit or fraction of a Bitcoin, like cents to a dollar. But where a dollar can only be broken down into 100 cents, a Bitcoin can be broken into 100 million Satoshis. In fact, the computer program we use to operate the Bitcoin network runs on Satoshis, and it's only a convention that we refer to 100 million of them as a Bitcoin. Next up, HODL. What started off as simply a drunken typo when an early Bitcoin user was discussing his trading strategy, this misspelling of hold is a rallying cry for holders of Bitcoin who want to watch their investment keep appreciating without risking missing the biggest upside days or incurring capital gains taxes. With the supreme volatility of Bitcoin, it's often rebranded as an acronym for Hold On for Dear Life, HODL, HODL. Next up, Diamond Hands. Diamond Hands, born out of one of the darkest corners of the internet, Wall Street Bets on Reddit. This phrase refers to the strength of conviction you need to hold on to an investment in the face of bad news or bad performance that's affecting the price of your assets. Commonly required when faced with FUD, Diamonds are the hardest element, and you want a firm grip when people are offering you so little for what you hold so dear. Next up, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. When you realize that the media is a biased corporation and that their reporters may not be experts in the industry or market they're reporting on, you'll notice that much of their reporting is overblown, overhyped, or downright incorrect. In the face of constant fear, uncertainty, and doubt, it's helpful to remember the reasons you took your position and not allow the FUD to get the best of you. Next up, fiat. Fiat is the money that most of us are used to using. Fiat simply means by decree. It's money because ultimately the government said so. I like to call it King Wishes magic. Fiat is legal tender and represents the debt of your nation. Fiat currency is created by the state, paid out to those who it deems worthy, and demanded back as taxes. The demand for fiat comes from the government's threat of force in the collection of taxes. Next up, addresses. Addresses work like bank accounts and email addresses. It's where you send the money. Addresses in Bitcoin are about 34 characters long and contain numbers and letters. Different leading numbers mean different technologies were used to create the accounts, but that's not usually important to the everyday user of Bitcoin. These addresses will look random and should be protected where possible. Next up, mining. Mining is the process of verification of the transactions that guarantees the scarcity of Bitcoin and the cap of 21 million. Miners are rewarded with new Bitcoin each time they successfully complete a block with the required proof of work. This proof of work process requires real use of energy to keep the security of the network. The proof of work is the connection between the real world and the digital world that ensures the scarcity of Bitcoin. Next up, private keys. Each address has a corresponding private key. The private key is the only access point to the money when held in a wallet you control. The private key in that sense is the key and the car. Whoever holds the key holds the coins. This has prompted a couple of phrases that Bitcoiners hold dear: not your keys, not your coins, and not your keys, not your cheese. Protect the coins as if they are the money themselves. Next up, wallet. A wallet is a collection of addresses, and it can be hot or cold. Hot wallets are connected to the internet, and if a serious vulnerability was detected in your network or operating system, it could be compromised. It's useful for day-to-day amounts while keeping the bulk of your wealth in cold storage. Next is cold storage. A cold wallet is a wallet that is not connected to the internet at all. There's no way for an attacker to command the money without being physically present with the wallet. This wallet can be as simple as code on a piece of paper or as elaborate as a separate computer or device without Wi-Fi whose sole purpose is to manage your Bitcoin. Next up, plebs. Plebs are the plebeian class of users of Bitcoin. They usually don't have a corporate interest in the decisions affecting the Bitcoin protocol, so are seen to be impartial in their understanding of the technical nature of the challenges of distributed ledgers. Many of whom were early users or believers and amassed significant Bitcoin positions, but due to their gradual and then sudden wealth, choose to remain anonymous to protect their identity.
Awesome. Really appreciate that, Tim. And a reminder, if you guys want to follow along with Tim on his journey, we've got links to his social as well as his website. That's Financial Independence, if you guys didn't know what FI stood for. With Bitcoin, it's in the video description down below. So really encourage you guys to jump over and support everything that Tim's doing there. But actually, even before we go into the next section here, Tim was talking about FUD, which often stands for fear, uncertainty, doubt. And I see a great comment here that I want to bring up. So I appreciate Jeremy jumping in the comment section and asking, why buy Bitcoin when Elon Musk can send out a tweet and the price just goes crazy, right? Like either up or down, depending upon which way he tweets. Yeah, there's a lot of volatility right now in Bitcoin, and that is important to understand if you're looking to get into Bitcoin. Now, that doesn't, from my perspective, but again, remember, I've been orange pilled now, which means I really believe in Bitcoin and everything it stands for. To me, Bitcoin isn't necessarily even just an investment. It's not just a savings vehicle. Like I said, it literally is a vote against tyranny. It's me saying, I'm tired of central banks. I'm tired of the backdoor deals with other banks or too big to fail institutions or corporations. It doesn't do anyone good, in my opinion. So while there will be continued volatility in Bitcoin for the foreseeable future, I don't think that necessarily means that we shouldn't be paying attention. Now, it definitely means that if you're not orange pilled, if you're not completely convinced about Bitcoin, I don't think you should throw your net worth into it, right? I don't think you should go all in on Bitcoin until you decide it's right for you personally to go all in Bitcoin. But I still think it's worthwhile to keep learning about it. Maybe, like I said, just put $100 or $10 if that's all you can afford into Bitcoin, just so that you start paying a little bit more attention. When I originally got started in stock investing, one of the ways I really started paying attention to stocks and started learning more about it was by having skin in the game, right? Even just putting $1,000 into a stock, all of a sudden the stakes felt so much more real than when I was playing with essentially like a play portfolio. So just want to share that perspective, but really appreciate the question there, Jeremy. And feel free, guys, to keep asking questions in the comment section. It's not just me in there. There's a lot of other great people, too. I know we've also got Tim and Tyler, and I think I saw Shahir earlier. So, again, they're happy to answer your questions as well, and really appreciate you guys in the comment section. But, again, it's not necessarily about how much Bitcoin you buy right away. You don't have to necessarily drop everything and go from, $100,000 in the bank to only having Bitcoin day two. I don't think that's realistic. I don't even think that's wise. In fact, I think it's smart to DCA, dollar cost average. And that's something I think you'll hear a lot of people talk about. And I think that that's why the concept of stacking sats, it's not about buying Bitcoins even. It's about buying the smallest fractional share of a Bitcoin and slowly stacking them over time. Almost think of this as like, instead of having like a fad diet, think of it as just like eating healthy for the rest of your life, stacking sats. I think of that as like that's your financial independence. That's your anti-inflation. That's your anti-tyranny vote. Just every day you could be stacking a few sats if you so chose, or maybe once a week, maybe once a month, maybe once a year, depending upon what's right for you. And again, it is important that you guys understand what's right for you. I don't want anyone to like watch this and then mortgage their entire house or sell all their possessions and then jump all into Bitcoin. I don't think that that's wise. But again, there is a common meme when you guys get into the world of Bitcoin, and understand a lot of people that believe in Bitcoin in a big way, a lot of people that have been orange pilled, they actually call themselves cyber hornets. And what that means is they're a swarm. And if they think that you've got bad intentions around Bitcoin, they will swarm you. Just take my word for that. But in addition, they're also maximalists. A lot of them believe go all in on Bitcoin. Now, again, until you guys have been orange pilled or until you decide it's right for you, I don't think it's wise. But there is a really interesting question. If you own shares, do you actually own too much Bitcoin? And so I think that leads us up for our next little piece here.
Love the new apartment. Look at all the furniture.
Actually, it's used.
So I know you've been talking about crypto, and I'm thinking about getting ETH.
Bitcoin. Sats. I've never once said ETH.
Doge to the moon and me with it.
Sats, bro. I'm always telling you to stack. For the love of God, take some profits and stack sats.
Dude, maybe I should be giving you investing advice? Fuck, I just got wiped out on a margin call. Bullshit, Robinhood. Looks like you got wiped out too.
No chairs, but still stacking sats.
So I'm not saying that you guys need to drop everything and literally get rid of everything but one couch in your home. But we were hoping just to share a little bit of fun. So if you guys having fun along at home, please share this on social media. Sharing is caring. We're about to get into essentially how to go about acquiring your first fractional share of a Bitcoin. Because I know people have unit bias, right? Right now you're looking at it and you're like, holy shit, it's $35,705 for a single Bitcoin. I don't have $35,000 USD, Matt. That's actually more than every single vehicle I've ever owned combined together in my entire life. I've never spent that amount of money on cars collectively. I'm a 36-year-old dude now. So again, I get it. Bitcoin seems really expensive, but we can actually own just fractional shares of it, just a tiny little sliver, a Satoshi. And that's what's really interesting and exciting about it, because I know the first thing you guys hear is like, ooh, Bitcoin's too expensive. I want to get into Dogecoin or SafeMoon or other. I probably even shouldn't say those words, but I get it. It sounds that it's essentially the same thing, right? And cheaper. No, it really isn't the same thing. And in fact, that's why you need to start doing your research. That's why you need to read the white papers. It's why you should get the audio book, The Bitcoin Standard. Really familiarize yourself with this stuff before you start gambling. So many people get wiped out day trading, trading with margin, just not understanding the underlying thing that they're investing with or that they're trading with, right? So we're just talking about Bitcoin today and Ethereum. And really, guys, I want you to focus on Bitcoin first if you're taking, my perspective at all as being valuable, because I just don't want to see anyone get burned. I want you to just slowly ease into this. Don't go all in, because I don't want to see anyone get hurt, because there will be volatility. But let's talk about how to go about getting that first Satoshi, how to go about getting your first Bitcoin. And so there's a couple of things that you're going to need to understand about this entire process. And we break it down for you completely in the e-guide. So don't worry, you don't have to take screenshots. There's links in the video description down below. Go grab your copy of the e-guide. But a few things that you're going to need to have handy if you're a Canadian and you want to start acquiring Bitcoin. Because understand, there's this thing called KYC, know your customer. And what that means is we can't just anonymously buy Bitcoin on the internet. You're actually going to have to provide some information about yourself in order to set up an account, in order to start stacking those first few sats, unless maybe you've got an ATM in your local area where you can literally go buy, Bitcoin, scan a QR code and have it downloaded into your wallet and put in cash. And if you guys didn't know, back in 2017 and 2018, and it's actually still in my garage, I did actually own a Bitcoin ATM. Now, one thing I just want to share with you guys, back in the day, I was like, oh, everyone's talking about Bitcoin. I'm going to be really smart. Instead of buying Bitcoin, I'm going to try and sell, I don't want to mine gold. I want to sell shovels. So I'm going to buy an ATM. You know what? Had I put all the money I spent on that ATM into Bitcoin, well, it would be a completely different story now, wouldn't it? But anyways, hindsight's 2020 for all of us. But it is important that you guys understand that there will be a little bit of a barrier to entry here. So a few things that you're going to need if you want to acquire your first Bitcoin is you're going to need an email account. You're going to need some identification. So essentially, you're going to need a driver's license or a passport. And oftentimes, if you're setting this up online, you'll probably have to take a selfie video. You might have to say a few words or essentially prove you're not a robot or a deep fake of yourself in order to get the account set up. And there's a little bit of time involved with getting the account set up as well. But it's really not that difficult. It's not that scary. I promise. It really isn't, guys. And in fact, other than that, all you're going to need is like a bank account in order to transfer some money over so that you can actually start stacking sats. And then you're going to need a vendor. So who we're going to be talking about today is Shakepay, but there's a lot of different companies in Canada. I've used a couple different ones. I've talked to lots of people that have pretty much used, I think, just about everything out there in Canada. Shakepay seems to be one of the easier, more friendly user experiences based upon my humble opinion and based upon some of the people I've spoken with as well. So again, you don't have to use Shakepay. Go get your Bitcoin wherever you want. There probably are places to get cheaper Bitcoin. But I think if you're brand new to this world, again, that's really what this is all about today, is someone that's brand new or pretty new to the concept of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I think Shakepay is a great start. There's a link in the video description down below. Now, I will get an affiliate if you end up signing up and you put $100 into your account. If you don't want me to get paid, that's okay too. You can just go directly to Shakepay's website. I really just want to see more Canadians stacking sats and learning more about Bitcoin. So this isn't about me trying to make money on affiliate links, because I already spent more on my staff making this free e-guide than that would ever pay off. But again, I will honestly be proud 10 years from now if I help a handful of Canadians start stacking a few sats this year. So what you're going to need to do, go download that Shakepay app. Then essentially you're going to need to sign up. So you'll need a piece of ID to get approved based on the demand of Bitcoin and Ethereum, and just what's going on in general. The approval period may take a little bit, so it could take up to 24 hours. But usually within 24 hours, you'll be accepted, so you're good to go. Then, once you're approved, you'll get a digital wallet where you can start transferring money over. And it could take up to an hour if we're doing an e-transfer. So again, that's what I like about Shakepay. If you've got a Canadian bank account and you're used to sending money e-transfers, right? You can essentially do that to your Shakepay account. And it's just a really simple, easy way that I think a lot of Canadians will be comfortable doing it. But again, you don't have to use them. I don't really care, guys, but I'd love to see more Canadians stacking sats. And in fact, speaking about wanting to see more Canadians stacking sats, I recently offered essentially just in a group chat to my entire team of employees and managers and just said, hey guys, if you guys are interested in participating and you've never bought Bitcoin before, you've never stacked a single sat, I would love to help you out. And so all you guys need to do is respond, edit my ebook for me, be a proofreader, and I'll send you $100 free to go set up your Shakepay account. And all I want is kind of a video, explanation of what the experience was like. So what we've got coming up in a second here is a compilation of some of my team members' experiences while going through stacking their first few sats, setting up the Shakepay account. Because again, I don't want you guys thinking like, oh, maybe Matt's some technical genius and that's how he's able to do Shakepay. I'm definitely not a technical genius, but even if I was, you'll be able to listen to my staff, and hopefully that even just normalizes it more for everyone, because this is really easy. But again, I can remember back in when I first thought about getting Bitcoin at kind of like near the end of 2017, I went and applied to set up a account, and it was kind of not with Shakepay, with a different provider. It was kind of cumbersome, and I felt a little bit sketchy and dirty, and I was like, ooh, I don't know, and I got scared. And that ended up holding me back from buying my first Bitcoin for like 5 or 6 months. And again, I wish I would have just been slowly stacking sats over time rather than letting that, first barrier slow me down or stop me. It's something we talk about in my real estate stuff all the time, right? So many people, they get scared or nervous, and that just holds them back, fear of the unknown. So I'm really hoping to shine light on any corners that might be scary when it comes to your first Bitcoin journey. But again, don't just take my word for it. We've got a video from some of my team members. Really excited to share it here with you guys, and just really appreciate the team willing to jump into the world of Bitcoin.
Matt just messaged a group asking if anyone is interested in investing in Bitcoin who hasn't done so already.
I'm really excited to be sharing this with you today. Matt was kind enough to offer to the team that whoever wants to try out and read his Bitcoin for Beginners E-Guide, he would put some money into our Shakepay account so that we can test and document what it's like to buy Bitcoin for the first time.
I just got the guide to Bitcoin, getting started with Bitcoin from Matt. It is really cool. I just read it all. Really interesting. There's a lot of information there.
I just went over the e-guide, and I wish this was available 2 months ago when all I was doing was searching endlessly on cryptocurrency. And with this e-guide, all the information is in one document.
Unlike some people on the team, or probably most people on the team, I am of the most noob status when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I don't understand a lot of the jargon, haven't really looked into it very much. So I think that this is going to be a really interesting process for me. I love that Matt came out with this Bitcoin for Beginners e-guide because I'm a little shy to say this, but I'm quite the beginner.
It is actually really nice. If you see, it's right here. It's pretty much this, getting started with Bitcoin, and it'll give you a lot of information like common terms, address, blockchain, all those things you need to know. And pretty much it's just giving you the basics of what Bitcoin is and why is it a great cryptocurrency.
And so my ID is submitted and I can enter the Bitcoin universe now. How exciting. So this is my Shakepay, which there's nothing in it. So I guess there's no sensitive information here. But it shows you like how much Bitcoin and Ethereum. So apparently I can add funds, send, add funds, send, and then there's these little things at the bottom. Oh, there's a Shakepay like Visa card.
As you can see, once you have it, this is the first Shakepay that I did. So this is the first shake that I gave to my phone. If you don't, once you have the app, you can shake every day your phone and you'll gain Satoshis, which is pretty cool because it's pretty much free money. As you can see, Matt just sent me $100 so we could try it out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy some Bitcoin. Okay, so basically what you want to do is just go to buy and sell, then Canadian dollars. You can see there the $100 that I have. I want to transfer those to Bitcoin. So just going to do max and continue. And as you can see, for $100, I'm going to receive 0.0022539 Bitcoin. Hopefully in the future, that's worth a lot. And so, yeah, I'll just click confirm, and then that's it. I now have $97.20 worth of Bitcoin.
Give Matt the information that he needed to so that he can place some money into my account so I can test out buying some Bitcoin. And now there's, I'm going to show you because there's only $100, but now I can, I guess, buy something. And how fun is that? I just bought my first part of a Bitcoin. It's my first dabble into Bitcoin. That was really exciting.
Pretty easy, guys. The guide is pretty useful if you're new to cryptocurrencies. That is definitely a nice guide to have.
What's nice is it ends off with just letting you know some like social media Canadians for you to follow, just so you're up to date and you really understand more about Bitcoin. So thank you for this opportunity, Matt. And this e-guide is phenomenal.
Oh shit, I'm not. Oh, just shaking my phone there. I kind of forgot to shake my phone today to get my free sat. So I think I'm on day 60, literally actually just funny enough, day 68 of shaking my phone to stack my sat. So as Diego was mentioning there, if you guys do end up deciding to go with Shakepay, one of the cool things is, you know, once you set it up, and I think you have to refer a friend first, but once you do those things, or be referred by a friend, something like that, you can shake your phone literally every day. You shake it like that, and you'll get free sats. Now, again, you're not going to become a millionaire overnight shaking your sats. I think today I maybe got 500 sats or something like that from shaking my phone. But again, every little bit helps. And again, I think it's also just a great reminder for us to, you know, be thinking about dollar cost averaging. It's a great excuse to be paying attention to what's going on in the world of Bitcoin. I also just think it's kind of a fun and novel idea. And Shakepay is going to be coming out with their own credit card as well, it looks like, in the future. And I think that's cool. I'm pretty sure that would make it Canada's first, you know, Bitcoin-oriented credit card where it seems like you'll actually be able to get sats versus like points or money back. Love that idea. And if it turns out to be a solid credit card in every other facet, I think I'll be using a lot of it. But again, I wanted to reiterate, Matt McKeever is never going to send you guys free money or free Bitcoin, but there are a lot of scams out there. And so it is really important to be protecting yourself when it comes to understanding what's going on in the world of Bitcoin. So if it looks to be too good to be true, if someone's like, hey, give me 1 Bitcoin and I'll give you 100 Bitcoins, I would really take a beat before I trusted that, guys. And I would just, you know, pause to reflect, you know, and it really, what happens here is a lot of people get caught up in greed and FOMO and other factors, and they end up going into situations or trying scammy things that they probably should know better, but they end up getting burned. So we're going to talk about scams in a second. But before I do that, I did see some great comments going on in the comment section, just talking about things like, you know, what happens with regulation? What happens if the government decides to make Bitcoin illegal? What happens if, you know, big banks and central bankers, who Matt just said have tons of power and probably wouldn't like Bitcoin because they're going to lose power? What happens if they decide, like, no, your game's over, we're going to shut it down? Yeah, that definitely can happen. And that could be pretty messy, could be very volatile during that period of time when that goes down. But it really is up to us, in my opinion. I want to go back to that video clip that I was mentioning with Jack Mahlers there. Really encourage you guys to watch that, because Jack mentions, like, this is the hill to die on. And he said that he will die on this hill. And, you know, my emotions, like, it got hijacked when I watched that, because, again, I think central banking does such a disservice to the average person, and they're not even aware of the chains or the tethers that control them in regards to central banking. I personally do think that this is one of the hills to die on. It's one of the reasons that I don't talk about what I consider to be shit coins, anything that's not Bitcoin or Ethereum. I'm not interested in those things, especially ones that have big banks backing, that have government backing, that have, you know, VC firm backing. No, screw those guys. That's the old system. We don't want the old system. We want a new system. We want to recreate it. We want to actually have individuals having freedom and sovereignty over their money and not being compelled or forced by governments. So while I completely understand, and those are valid concerns about Bitcoin, I personally do see this as one of the hills that's worth dying on. This is something that's worth fighting governments over. This is something that's worth trying to go live on your YouTube and social media and share with more people in the hopes that if enough of us join the cyber hornets, that they'll never be able to stop us. Because Bitcoin doesn't need any individual, right? That's a common theme that you'll hear amongst Bitcoin maximalists. Bitcoin doesn't need your country. Bitcoin doesn't need Elon Musk. Bitcoin doesn't need Tesla. Bitcoin just is. And I think it is the right hill to die on. So I just wanted to share that, guys, because, again, I appreciate you asking questions in the comment section. Keep them coming. There's some great people in there that are also helping or sharing their perspective. But I think that, where's the line in the sand where you or we or us or whoever is going to decide that they've had enough of just being pushed around by big government? And if we don't control money, if you can't control your savings, I don't know if you'll ever really be in control, because it feels like government will always be able to push us around under those circumstances. So again, sorry, I wasn't expecting to rant there. I'll try and get back on schedule here in a second. And I think what's really important, guys, is just starting to stack those first few sats. You don't need to be a millionaire. You don't need to have millions of dollars. You don't need to buy your first Bitcoin. You don't need to spend $35,809 right now to buy a whole Bitcoin. Just get started. Start dollar cost averaging. Start paying attention. Put $10 or $100 or whatever you can afford just to have a little bit of skin in the game and see what happens. Start reading more, right? Start learning more. But also, again, as we were mentioning, be careful, because there do be dragons out there in the world of cryptocurrency. There are people that will try and take advantage of you. And so while we can't be completely comprehensive in this live stream or in any individual e-guide, in my e-guide, you will find at least some basic breakdowns in regards of things to be aware of, because there's some things that are pretty nefarious that you would probably be caught off guard by. So a couple of them I just want to hit upon are fake exchanges. So understand, just because an app is in the App Store doesn't necessarily mean it's the legitimate app you want. So it's on us when it comes to cryptocurrency, and especially Bitcoin, or, well, anything really, but it's on us to make sure that we're using the right app. So make sure that you don't just blindly go grab the first Shakepay app that you see when you search. Make sure that it's the valid one, right? How many upvotes? How long has it been around? All those little details, because there have been cases in the past where, bad actors have snuck into the App Store and essentially created like a cloned version of what was expected. And I should have memorized what the some of the actual real world examples are, but essentially where people thought they were downloading a legitimate app, uploaded money or crypto to it, and then essentially were, shit out of luck. They weren't able to get access to their stuff because it wasn't the legitimate company or business that they were hoping to work with. And then there's Ponzi schemes. So whether we're talking about BitConnect back in 2017 and 2018, which was just a wild moment in time that, again, human nature being what it is, cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, there's always going to be volatility here for the foreseeable future. The human emotional roller coaster is going to keep on rolling. And so it's important that you understand that there's nothing for free in this life. There's no such thing as that free lunch. So if someone says, send me 1 Bitcoin, I'll send you 2, it doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense, guys. And so you need to be careful, because, again, while you may be more useful to dealing with the traditional financial system that's more on rails, more bumper cars, where if things go wrong, it's easier to go back and file a suit or a claim or get insurance to pay you. When we're talking about cryptocurrencies and stuff, this is more of the Wild West. Once you send those funds, once you send that Bitcoin, you're not going to be able to just get it back. There's no undo button once you've sent it. So just be aware of those things. And again, there's also things like scam coins. So almost every day, there's a new coin, a new token, a new thing being launched, a new person that's essentially being scammed out of their hard-earned money or out of their hard-earned Bitcoin because they let FOMO and greed get a hold of them. Don't get into this if you're coming with FOMO or greed. Come into this level-headed, looking to learn. I literally think of myself as an egg when it comes to Bitcoin, an egg, EGG, as in I'm brand new. My journey's barely started. I haven't even hatched yet on my Bitcoin journey, but I also want to try and help you guys become eggs in your own way on your Bitcoin journey. So I also don't want to scare the shit out of you, because Bitcoin does make sense. I think Shakepay is a very easy and safe way to go about getting your first one. I saw someone else mention Newton. Newton's also great. I've heard great things from individuals I've talked about. or talked with in regards to using Newton. Again, use whatever exchange you want. Just make sure that you do your own due diligence, because I'd hate to see anyone get burned or hurt when it comes to cryptocurrency, because you can. And one of the ways that you can end up accidentally hurting yourself when it comes to cryptocurrency is not understanding whether you're in control. Not your keys, not your coin is a very famous saying when it comes to Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general. But the concept is, people think Bitcoin, freedom, that's its sovereignty. But if I keep my Bitcoin in my Shakepay account, or I keep my Bitcoin at a bank, or I keep my Bitcoin with the government, there's still actually another intermediary involved, right? There's a trusted third party, air quotes used there, that actually controls my Bitcoin. So not your keys, not your coin. It's really important. And in fact, it's so important that I thought that we needed to do a PSA to make sure that people are aware of the risks when it comes to gambling with your Bitcoin. Now, I think my editor and scriptwriter here, they forgot one key aspect in this skit, but I love the skit so much I wanted to include it. The whole point of this skit that you guys are about to watch is that Peter, the first character I think you're going to see here, he left his Bitcoin on an exchange and then had to give his password to someone rather than holding his keys, right? Rather than holding the seed phrases, rather than actually being in complete control. And again, you guys need to do your own research. The e-guide covers this high level, but again, don't let your due diligence stop with this one YouTube video or one e-guide. I just want this to be the gateway drug into the entire world of Bitcoin for you guys. And I also hope you have some fun. So let's pull up the skit. And remember, not your keys, not your coin.
Not Your Keys, Not Your Coins is a public service announcement funded by the Mega Chats for Self-Custody Foundation.
Sure, we've all seen the memes about not your keys, not your coin. You've likely even laughed at some. But are your loved ones gambling with their coins in custodial accounts? Picture this, a typical scene in a typical home, maybe even your home.
So I guess Russian roulette was a bad idea. This isn't even the right type of gun. I'm gonna die here soon, so I guess I should give you my Bitcoin login.
Come on, Peter. It's one thing to gamble with your life, but to gamble with your Bitcoin, bro, it's not cool.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm Rocket McGee, your Bitcoin security expert for safety. And you're probably asking yourself how they got themselves in this pickle. Well, playing games with your life is one thing, but never play games with your Bitcoin. Not your keys, not your coin. This has been your Bitcoin PSA for the day.
Not your keys, not your coin. Just remember that when it comes to the world of Bitcoin, guys, because so many people, they leave their money on exchange and things change over time, or they forget their password, or the exchange gets hacked. And again, understand when people hear about like Bitcoin, direct Bitcoin scams or Bitcoin whatever, it's not that Bitcoin's a scam. It's that someone left their money with a trusted third party, and that trusted third party scammed them. That's essentially what like 99% of the headlines that you see in the news when it comes to Bitcoin scams is nothing to do with Bitcoin, really. It's the trusted third party ran away with the money. So really important you guys understand that. Can't emphasize that enough. Now, another concept when we're talking about, acquiring cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin in particular is this concept of aping it. The idea of aping in is just trying to buy, use all your money, one giant lump sum. Let's just go hard all in. It's pretty much the exact opposite of dollar cost averaging, which is easing your way in. Remember, this entire conference is called SOS BTC, Stack or Sink, Bitcoin Takeover Canada. It's about stacking sats over time, not necessarily just aping in, especially if you're brand new to this, because there will be volatility and it can hurt. You may think that you're buying the dip, but you're not necessarily buying the dip. There's a lot of volatility. But at the same time, why not buy the dip? And so that's where dollar cost averaging allows us to both buy the dips, buy the highs without getting emotional. Because it can be really easy to have your emotions hijack you and be like, ooh, I think Bitcoin's too high right now. I'm going to wait until it drops below 10,000. Or, ooh, Bitcoin feels very weak at 40,000, Or it feels too high at 25,000. No, dollar cost averaging is usually going to be the best idea for all of us. But again, if you want to buy the dip, just be aware that there will be volatility.
Not Your Keys, Not Your Coins is a public service announcement funded by the Mega Chats for Self-Custody Foundation.
Yo, bro, Bitcoin just dipped. Are you buying?
Bro, why would I invest in a depreciating cryptocurrency? It's all about Safe Moon right now. We're going all the way to Mars.
Damn, man. Maybe you're right. Maybe altcoins are the way to go. Huh.
Whoa, all right. I've had just about enough of you guys not buying the dip. This is your financial future, guys. How are you not seeing this? You buy the dip, you buy the top, you always be buying Bitcoin aggressively. ABBA, it's my favorite band. ABBA.
So again, I'm encouraging you guys to actually dollar cost average, but you can choose to follow ABBA and be as aggressive as you want at the end of the day. But one of the easiest ways to dollar cost average in is just kind of set it and forget it. And so, apps or exchanges like Shakepay actually do allow you to just easily set it and forget it when it comes to dollar cost averaging in. So you can choose to just buy like $10 a week or $100 a week or $10 or $1 a day. And what's cool is when you're stacking your sats, other than the exchange fee that you're going to pay on just about any exchange, there's really no individual transaction cost associated with it. So it's relatively affordable and easy for a lot of us to dollar cost average in. And, when it comes to payday, why not just dollar cost average in rather than running that emotional roller coaster of trying to time the market? Just like when we talk about real estate, it's not timing the market, it's time in the market that makes the difference. And you can just ask anyone that bought Bitcoin back in 2013, whether it's more about time in the market rather than timing the market. So let's talk about payday and stacking some sats.
Not Your Keys, Not Your Coins is a public service announcement funded by the Mega Chats for Self-Custody Foundation.
Hey, Peter, where's your cash? It's payday.
Oh, rather than putting all my money in the bank, I put my whole paycheck into Bitcoin.
Bitcoin? More like Brocoin.
I'm Mr. Coin, Mr. Dogecoin. Fiat, Bitcoin. Bitcoin, fiat. One's designed to lose value to inflation, the other isn't. One will have fun staying poor, the other won't. Remember, kids, buy Bitcoin, avoid the shitcoins.
Seriously, in my opinion, there's Bitcoin and there's everything else. There's really no comparison between the two. And that's why this is called SOS BTC and not Cryptocurrency Takeover Canada or anything else like that. I think it's really important that you start your journey when it comes to Bitcoin. And again, that volatility, the fact that you might, and I literally encouraged one of my employees to look into buying Bitcoin, Adam Martin, and he did his own due diligence and he got comfortable with it. And he decided he was just too lazy, too impatient to be willing to dollar cost average in. So he decided to ape in. And so he just essentially decided to put his lump sum of money all into Bitcoin at once. And, when he did that, I said, hey, man, that's awesome. Just be aware that it could go lower. And I think that when, Adam originally aped in, it was probably around maybe $65,000 Canadian at the time per Bitcoin. Now, I'm not saying he bought a whole Bitcoin, but that was the exchange rate. And, right now, it's actually a lot less than that. But Adam's comfortable with that because he's not viewing it as a short-term trade. He's not trying to make a quick buck off of Bitcoin, and neither am I. In fact, when it comes to Bitcoin, I literally think of my Bitcoin as Bitcoin the moment it becomes Bitcoin. I stop paying attention to what the fiat value is. So if I own 0.1 of a Bitcoin, I'm no longer thinking like, oh, that's worth like, 4,000 USD. No, I'm thinking I have 0.1 Bitcoin. And again, it takes a while to maybe get your mind around this. I'm not expecting everyone to be orange pilled based upon my one YouTube video. I'm not expecting you to get orange pilled just because of one e-guide. I'm just hoping to make you guys a little bit more Bitcoin curious. And there's a lot of memes out there. There's a lot of people that do try and trade Bitcoin. And when it comes to trading Bitcoin, it can be easy to start to go a little bit crazy. Again, I would not encourage you to trade Bitcoin. I'd encourage you to stack sats. But if you are trading Bitcoin, you may have heard of this concept of the BART. So, I felt it was our responsibility to essentially break down for you guys what the BART is. So I think we've got a little bit of behind the scene footage here.
Success always came easy to me. That is until I started trying to trade cryptocurrencies. Then the challenge really began. How can I read these charts? What am I supposed to read into them? Why is it going up? Why is it going down? What's a moon? What's a doge? All these things were challenges until I finally got it one night when I was sitting there on my couch falling asleep and I was watching South Park and I realized BART is the answer. He was the problem in South Park. He's the problem here. The Simpsons did it. It was so obvious once I saw the BART in the charts. And as I started looking at the chart, you can see it here. Look at him here. And then there, that's an upside down BART. Doesn't matter where you look, you can see BARTs. And once you see the BART matrix, there's no unseeing it.
I'm going to be honest, guys. If you start seeing BARTs and charts, I think that's probably time to walk away from the keyboard and the screen for a little bit, take a beat, catch your breath, maybe even sleep for a little bit, come back, and I think that the BARTs will disappear. And if BARTs last more than 24 hours, definitely go see a physician or like your doctor, because that's probably something serious. But I hope that you guys really enjoyed our discussion about Bitcoin. If you guys got value, if you enjoyed the skits, please smash the like button. And again, reminder, there's links to everything we talked about in the video description down below, but we're just halfway through the conference so far, so you don't have to leave. But again, if you want to grab your e-guide, there's a link in the video description down below. You can grab it right now. We've got two, in fact. One is on just Bitcoin, right? We're just trying to explain how through Shakepay you can go about stacking a few sats, get familiar with the concept of Bitcoin, and start learning more and really begin your journey with everything Bitcoin. But I also understand that a lot of people, when they hear about Bitcoin, Ethereum also comes up. And you guys maybe have been following me on social media, and I am dabbling in Ethereum and particularly NFTs. I think it's kind of fun. I feel like I'm really just trading in human emotions. But please, if you're watching this and you're brand new to cryptocurrency, I don't want you jumping into the world of NFTs or Ethereum day one. I really would love to just see you get into Bitcoin, start stacking a few sats, start learning more. If down the road you decide that you want to get into NFTs, whether it's just because you love the art or you love trading in human emotions, it can be a fun and truly crazy freaking world out there. But I did want to at least give you a little bit of a starting point, because whether we're talking about Bitcoin or we're talking about Ethereum, Metamask, and NFTs, it's a little intimidating. And so I understand how people get intimidated, because sometimes it can be hard to even just find good resources, figure out exactly what can be done, where are the best resources to learn more. So before we move on into the world of Ethereum and NFTs, at the bottom of the e-guide for Bitcoin, there's links to additional videos. So one of the first things that comes up when we're talking about Bitcoin is people often ask, well, what about Bitcoin versus gold? So there's an amazing video. There's a hot link here. You can jump over and watch it on YouTube. Really encourage you to watch it. The debate between Michael Saylor and Frank Gustra was just absolutely amazing. I think both sides were great, but I guess I found myself resonating more with Michael Saylor. But go watch the full video. And then if you just want to watch an amazing 2+ hour video of some of the best names, the best influencers in Bitcoin talking about why they are bullish, I encourage you to jump over, watch a BTC Sessions video that essentially has, all the major mega bulls, including Jack Mallers, who I was talking about earlier, Michael Saylor, who's in the video about gold, and just a lot of other great characters that are involved in the world of Bitcoin and cyber hornetry. I don't know if that's a word, but, and then finally, if you're looking for more Canadians to follow along when it comes to Bitcoin, BTC Sessions, I think he's crushing it on YouTube. He's the best Canadian Bitcoin YouTuber I know of. So really encourage you to check him out. Jeff Booth is amazing. Brad Mills is amazing as well. In fact, he's also a local, like a London local. I don't know if he spent all his time in London, but he's from the London area. Back in 2017, 2018, he had a meetup group. He ended up kind of, I think, moving on to other things and moved on from the meetup group. And I ended up taking it over on meetup.com for a while. So again, really encourage you to check out Brad Mills. And then we've also got Greg Foss there as well. So there's an L by accident, so that's too bad. But anyways, that was a typo that I missed on last page at the very bottom. Darn it. Got really close to almost a perfect e-guide. But again, if you forgive us for the L, Greg is a great follow as well. So again, BTC Sessions, Jeff Booth, Brad Mills, Greg Foss, and there's all kinds of other amazing influencers. But I don't know, as a Canadian, there's always something special about finding a fellow Canuck that you can follow along with that, you know, is into the same thing that you're into. So really encourage you guys to check out all that great stuff. But let's move on from Bitcoin, because I know at some point in time, you're probably going to get curious about other things, just like I did. And one of the first things I got curious about was NFTs, and particularly CryptoPunks. And so essentially, I decided to loop in to the entire world of CryptoPunks, NFTs, and Ethereum, my buddy Shahir. And so Shahir's been working with me for a while as a wholesaler, but I knew he was starting to dabble a little bit with cryptocurrencies. And one night we started talking. I was sharing my passions and my excitement for NFTs and some of the interesting things I saw going on and was speculating with. And it turns out he was interested as well. So I ended up asking Shahir to essentially put together for us a video just breaking down what we can expect when it comes to actually NFTs. And, you know, how do I get started? What is an NFT? Because again, if you're brand new to the world of Bitcoin, all these other acronyms can be overwhelming as well. So that's why we put together a second e-guide. There's a link in the video description down below. You can grab that specific one. But again, please stack some sats, get that first Bitcoin or whatever you believe is the right allocation into Bitcoin, and then feel free to start learning more. But I do think it's really important you understand Bitcoin is different than everything else. And that's an aspect we cover in the e-guide as well. And immediately I'm scared that, you know, all the Bitcoin maximalists or hornets are going to even hate me for talking about this stuff. So understand that Bitcoiners are very passionate about it. And I think that that's great that they're passionate about it. But I also do love learning about other things and experimenting. And I'm really glad that Shahir was willing to experiment along with me when it came to understanding exactly what NFTs are. So I think we've got another video here where we're essentially going to jump in with Shahir, and he's going to break down for us what is an NFT. And then we'll start talking about maybe some of the NFT stuff I'm doing. And we'll get into the guide in a second.
Let's talk about non-fungible tokens. In this video, by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear understanding of what NFTs are, and maybe you'll even have a better insight to where you'll do some of your own research, and it'll be a good catalyst for you to get into NFTs. Alrighty, let's get started. So now, what exactly are NFTs? So NFTs is an acronym for non-fungible tokens, okay? Non-fungible tokens, with a dictionary definition, basically means that they cannot be recreated or exchanged for the same type or the same kind. So they're unique in their own separate ways, okay? Now, a good example of that is art, right? With art, let's just mention the Mona Lisa by Leonardo da Vinci and the Starry Night by Van Gogh. Now, both of these arts have value in their own respectable ways. However, they are not equal, right? They have the pictures are completely different too. They're different creators. The properties are different. The features are different. So you can't purchase one Mona Lisa with basically a Starry Night. That would be really, really complicated, right? Because you would have, the values aren't the same, okay? It's essentially, that's the whole point of it. NFTs cannot be exchanged with one another because the values aren't the same, okay? Now, on the opposite side with fungible tokens, which is an economic term, basically means that the values are the same, and however, they can be exchanged with one another. So a good example of fungible tokens is money. So if I was to give you $1, you'd give me the dollar back. I'd be happy. You'd be happy because the value is exactly the same. If I gave you $1, you give me 2.50 cents. I'd still be happy because the value is the same. So in the same way, fungible tokens can be traded and exchanged with one another. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, cannot be. In simple terms. Now, on the other side of like how do NFTs really work is to distill it down to its most simple form. NFTs basically are a digital representation. Okay, it's a digital representation of a piece of data within a blockchain. In simplicity. Now, what that means is that digital representation, which is a piece of data, maybe an audio file, maybe a text file, maybe an image. Those formats, whichever formats that may be, is then computerized and coded on a smart contract. And that smart contract, which basically is a computer program, It's like a regular contract where it has terms and conditions. And if those terms and conditions are met, that contract then gets executed within the blockchain. Simple. So now having those formatted files then gets computerized on the smart contract. That smart contract then gets assigned to a block and is within a blockchain now permanently, forever, cannot be altered. Okay. And that also creates ownership. Okay. Because one of the more important things about non-fungible tokens is you actually own the asset. And we can see that you own the asset. So when people tell me, Shahir, why can't I just take a picture of your CryptoPunk and I essentially have it, right? Like, isn't this what you showed me? So now I have this. I'm like, no, it doesn't work like that. Good example of that is like you go to the museum, right? You take a picture of the Mona Lisa in the museum and you go home, you print it out, you frame it. It looks exactly like the Mona Lisa, exactly. But it's actually not the real Mona Lisa. It's a copy of the Mona Lisa because you don't have the ownership. So what the blockchain does is it removes that issue. It removes that issue that you actually have the ownership of the asset, of the non-fungible token within the blockchain. So it's a proof of authenticity. It's a proof of ownership. Now, at the same time, last but not least, like I've also been getting a lot of questions in regards to like who the hell is actually buying these NFTs, right? Like the highest one, like I'm not going to spoil this, but the highest CryptoPunk sold for $7.57 million. Who the hell bought that? Who the hell bought that 24 pixelated avatar, right? So when you think about it, a good example that I can give you is this pen right here. Okay, this pen has sentimental value to me. This pen was actually a gift to me by my mentors, right? I write a lot of my contracts with this. I sign a lot of my contracts with this. Now, at the same time, you can give jack shit about this pen, right? You don't care about this pen. Aside from its aesthetics, it doesn't mean a lot to you. I'm able to pay way more for this pen than you are because it has more sentimental value to me. So in the same way with NFTs, people really like the artwork, so they're willing to put more money down for it. Also, people want to support their creators. That's why people are putting their money down for it. We bought Gary V NFTs, right? Gary V NFTs wasn't the most successful project launch or the NFT launch, but we still supported it, right? Because we believe in Gary V, right? So in the same sense, objects don't inherently have value in themselves. They have value because us as people deem it valuable. And I'm just going to end it with that. People say things have value because we believe they have value. Pretty much, pretty simple. Alrighty, now let's get into the next video.
All right, well, really appreciate you here breaking that down for us. And actually, just a little update. Since we shot that video, which I think was maybe within the last month, things have actually changed. And CryptoPunks have actually even sold for more. So if you guys haven't been paying attention, recently the auction house Christie's, as well as, I forget, one of the other big famous auction houses, both auctioned off sets of CryptoPunks. And I believe now the highest valuation any CryptoPunk has traded for is over $10 million USD. So it's absolutely wild. Like Shahir said, it's all just kind of made up valuation, right? Like that's why I really talk about trading in human emotions here. Why is that CryptoPunk worth more than others? Well, it's perceived to be valuable because it's relatively rare. It's an alien CryptoPunk. I think it had a mask and a hat. And anyways, it is really wild when we're talking about these things, and it can feel very abstract. And again, that's why, understand, I don't think Ethereum, NFTs, they may change the world. They may be wonderful. It may blow up. It may be here forever. But I still think that Bitcoin is something special. Bitcoin's unique. Bitcoin could change the world, and Bitcoin's worth fighting for. That's the hill worth dying on. But that doesn't mean that you can't dabble or play around in these other spaces. And so while we're talking about playing around or dabbling, I thought it'd be fun, or maybe even just good, to be transparent with you guys and show you exactly what are some of the NFTs I'm currently dabbling or exploring. As well, I'll show you guys my gallery. So this is my link tree. You guys can always jump over and check out my link tree on social media. It's just going to be, linktree/M.McKeever. But if you go here, Bitcoin conference, that's where we are right now. Or you can check out the Problems or Profits NFT chamber. And while I think I actually want to get our buddy Shahir to change the layout a bit, I thought it would still be worth checking out. Although I don't know how that's still in my gallery when I sold it, Shahir. So you're going to have to let me know. I would have thought that that would have disappeared. So anyways, I no longer own that ghost. I actually did sell it. But we can see here, there's one of the Bored Apes I own, and the background is another Bored Ape. There's one of those Gary V friends that Shahir was talking about. That's my gift goat. And essentially, we can kind of walk around the virtual gallery here. I'm kind of multitasking, so this will be a little bit choppy, but there's a Meebit that I also own. So that's also from Larva Labs, the same guys that did the CryptoPunks. There's another Gary V NFT, another one in the foreground. And there, in fact, is the CryptoPunk. This is maybe like the crown jewel of my NFT holdings, or of my and Shahir's NFT holdings. There's a wild story behind how we ended up even getting this CryptoPunk. We'll probably shoot a whole different video on that story, but it's also a very important lesson, again, that you need to understand what you're doing. There's no undo button here, because the person that ended up selling us this CryptoPunk, I'm not sure if he had a mouse slip or whether he actually meant to sell it to us, but we'd put in a bid a while ago, and he accepted it a long time afterwards at a price that seemed to be below fair market value. So again, when you're playing in these worlds, whether it's the world of Bitcoin, Ethereum, or NFTs, understand there's no undo buttons, but it still can be really fun. I love being able to support certain artists and projects and communities. And for me, when I'm thinking about, what NFTs to get involved with, it's not about just jumping in and buying things, crossing your fingers and hoping price goes up or NGO or NGU number go up. Math. What we're actually looking at, or what I'm looking at, is the community. How engaged is it, right? One of the first things I do is join the Discord and see what are the vibes. How many people are posting? Do I believe that this community is here to stay? Or is there just a bunch of speculators trying to get rich quick? Because it's important to understand that when we're talking about the world of NFTs, because there's a lot of people that are doing essentially rug pulls. They just launch a project, it's slapped together, they cross their fingers that a couple influencers tweeted out, or decide to try and day trade emotions on it. And, once they make their bank, they disappear into the ether again, no longer to support their project. So that's why it's so important that when we're talking about the world of NFTs, if you are going to go in here, just like I said with Bitcoin, there do be dragons. And in fact, I think there's even more dragons in the world of Ethereum and NFTs in particular. So I think that probably 99% of NFT projects out there right now will probably end up being worth less in the future than they are today. I think there's a handful that are special, that have real backing from creators and communities that could go the distance and be really interesting investments, or actually really interesting like lifestyle pieces. So when we're talking about the Bored Apes, so there's a Bored Ape right there, or let's go look at the one that I use for my profile photo. This Bored Ape, maybe you've seen him on Instagram or Twitter. I think those are probably the two main platforms I've got. But I personally think the Bored Ape community is really interesting. And one of the reasons I think it's interesting is there's just such tight bonds there. And so if you didn't know, the fur here is essentially called DMT. So I'm essentially part of the DMT Bored Ape Yacht Club gang. And I honestly believe that probably there's going to be a day where we will all meet up in person in the US. I could envision people eventually actually having private clubs or things of that nature where this is kind of your ticket in. And we've kind of already seen Gary V doing that with his NFTs, the V Friends. So again, I could essentially go on and on talking all day about this stuff. I'll leave it to you guys to explore. But I guess one last thing is actually, if you are just kind of nosy, you can actually learn a lot about what someone has. So for example, if I, what do I need to do here? Press enter on the NFT. There. So essentially press E. So essentially, if you want to dive into it, you can check out the individual on OpenSea. You can see who the owners are, get a better understanding of the detail behind it. And again, you can eventually go in and check out our entire portfolio if you're into that thing. But again, if you're brand new to this world, guys, please remember to stack sats first rather than just getting caught up in the emotional roller coaster that is NFTs, although I am enjoying the roller coaster myself. But let's talk about Shahir's experience. And if you guys are interested in learning more about Larva Labs or CryptoPunks or even just our experience, hopefully this next video is going to be helpful for everyone at home. And again, reminder, smash that like button.
Alrighty, now we've made it on the Larva Labs website. I'm on larvalabs.com/CryptoPunks. We're going to be talking about a specific type of NFT, and not just any type of NFT. We're going to be talking about the first ever NFT on the Ethereum blockchain. So let's get right into it. This may or may not be the best investment vehicle of the decade. I'm calling this right now. And by the way, this is not financial advice. So let's get started. So what are CryptoPunks? CryptoPunks are basically these 24 by 24 pixelated, almost cartoon characters that were generated through computer code. There's 10,000 of them minted back in June of 2017. And there's different types. They're ranged from males to females to aliens to zombies to apes, which are the more rare ones. And since there were only 10,000 of them minted, no two characters are exactly alike. However, some more physical traits are more rare than others. For example, only 44 characters have a beanie trait versus 147 characters have a vampire hair. So these are the different features that the CryptoPunks possess. And it goes from least rare, which is the earring, which is the least rare. 2,459 CryptoPunks have an earring versus only 44 CryptoPunks have a beanie. So this is worth way more on the open marketplace. Amazing, right? Now, subsequently, since there's only 10,000 of them minted and each being unique with their characteristics, some obviously hold way, way more value than others. And a good example of it is this. You see this alien? This alien went for $7.57 million back in March 11th of 2021, which is mind-boggling because, just to give you a bit of background, these CryptoPunks were first launched in June 2017 and were developed by a two-person team, Matt Hall and John Watkinson at American Game Studio of Larva Labs. They were originally released for free. So they were given out for free and could be claimed by any Ethereum user. All you had to do was pay gas fee, which was the transaction fee in order to get these punks. I find this mind-boggling because it's crazy that the most expensive one sold for $7 million and someone bought it for dirt cheap. Like if I was to click on this and just do a quick history search, which I can do, you can see that. Okay, so the first it was claimed, and then there was a lot of bids on it. Okay, that's fine. And then it was sold for 14,000 or 12 ETH back in Jan 10th of 2018. And then, wow, this is crazy. And then it was sold for $7.57 million. Crazy. Well, that's what happens. Now, a lot of influencers, or I would say like a lot of punk supporters, are now accumulating these punks on the low. A good example of it is definitely Mark Cuban, Gary V. Gary V is huge on CryptoPunks. He's actually he's expressed it on his social media on Twitter that he's accumulating CryptoPunks. There's Kevin Rose, there's Alex Becker, a lot of YouTubers like Logan Paul, FaZe Banks. And the craziest thing about it is, like, you might be thinking, like, what can they actually do with these punks? Aside from flexing them and having the bragging rights of owning them, what can you do with it? And not much. You can't do much of it. The best thing about this is it started off as a place to kind of just trade back and forth. It happened to be an experiment that turned into a successful project, right? The creators for CryptoPunks weren't thinking it was gonna sell for millions of dollars, right? That's not what they had intended. Now, what is really cool is by these popular influencers purchasing these CryptoPunks, what they're doing is that they're essentially voting with their actions. So they're putting money down on these CryptoPunks, and the reason why they're doing it is obviously they believe in the project. They're spending thousands and thousands of dollars on these punks, whether it may be for an investment or maybe just for bragging rights or a flex. Probably or definitely both. the buzz that they're actually creating around these CryptoPunks is obviously increasing the demand in the marketplace. And since there's only 10,000 of them created ever, you could only imagine where this is going to go in the near future. So without any further ado, I'm going to just show you one of the CryptoPunks that Matt and I bought, which was this. And there was an amazing story behind this, man. This was an interesting one. And this is why we will definitely keep this for a minute. So you could see that it was originally claimed in June 23rd. And then it was transferred to this address. This address offered it for sale for $34,000 and $32,000. I actually put a bid on it on April 6th of 2021 for 11 ETH or $23,000, give and take. Now that was immediately sold to somebody else for 16 ETH. And then this individual put it back on sale for 41 ETH, and then it got sold. And you know what's crazy about it? Is that my bid, right? I didn't remove my bid. My bid was still on the table because I had not removed it, because I was waiting for an adapter, a dongle from Amazon for me to actually put in my USB and conduct the transaction to remove the bid. And I didn't have that because I have a Mac, and Macs only have one USB, or they don't even have a USB. They have a USB-C port, if I should say. But I had not removed my bid of 11 ETH. And this individual, well, Matt and I were on a hunch, since we can't communicate with the account holder that sold it to us, he essentially took a 50% loss. Like, he bought it for $41,000 and sold it to us for $23,000. Now, our hunch is that he actually intended on selling it to this individual right here, who also put a bid in for 11 ETH, but it ended up going to us. So this was a crazy story. The day I found out, I was like, I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, that is crazy. That is a hell of a deal. And since I'm a real estate wholesaler, I was quite content with my work. I'm not going to lie. But that's pretty much it, guys. This is CryptoPunks. I hope it gave you a good understanding of what are the possibilities in the digital art and collectibles world. Since this was the first of its kind, this is the modern crypto art movement, as it says right here, right? Like this is the way that things are going. And I'm looking forward to see what happens in the future with these CryptoPunks. Looking to purchase one more at least. If it hits around like 8 ETH, that would be nice. But aside from that, in the next session, we're going to be going over how to purchase Ether and get a Metamask wallet, which will eventually help us buy different NFTs on, let's just say, Larva Labs, on CryptoPunks, as well as OpenSea or Rarible. So we'll get into that video, and we will go from there on.
So now you guys know that not only do we buy deals in regards to people's houses, we also buy deals when it comes to NFTs. So if you've got any NFTs that you're looking to sell at a discount real fast, we'll make you an Ethereum offer. But again, really appreciate Shahir breaking down for us exactly what's going on in the world of CryptoPunks. And let me know if you guys think that we were crazy to bid 11 ETH on a 24 by 24 pixel piece of art. Because I'm pretty sure had you told me like a year ago, I would have been like, yeah, okay, Matt went off the deep end. That's probably what exactly happened there. But like Shahir was talking about, there actually is a surprising amount of utility in some of these NFTs. And so just a real quick share here on my Twitter account. First, understand when it comes to Twitter, I'm not much of a big deal. In fact, I've got less than 1,000 followers, but a lot of my followers recently have actually been fellow apes. And so when we're talking about the Bored Ape Yacht Club, one of the aspects here, there's like essentially I've seen it as a tweeted rule, so it's not even an unwritten rule, but it says ape, ape see ape, ape follow ape. And so essentially whenever I see apes, I follow them. And for example, I commented recently on, another ape's post, and 3 apes saw that I commented on that and they followed me. And so again, this is very common for apes to be following each other. And it just starts to build a certain sense of camaraderie. And honestly, in the last year with COVID and just like social distancing, not being able to go outside, especially if you're a Canadian, there's actually real value in building some of these communities. Thankfully, I've got my Problems and Problems community. I've got my YouTube and social media community. I've got my Cash Flow Tribe community, right? So I've got lots of different communities around me, but I still have enjoyed also being a participant in the Bored Ape Yacht Club community. And so I know for a lot of individuals, not only is this NFT community or the specific NFT community that you're involved in, a community, but for some people, it's their main community or it's their only community that they really feel connected to right now. So again, I'm not saying that this is going to be the case for every NFT or that's going to hold in the future, but it is a really interesting moment in time. And one other aspect that just blew my mind when it came to the world of NFTs is this idea of an art dividend. And so again, I'll shoot a whole other video on this subject matter. But when we bought our CryptoPunk, a month or two after that, CryptoPunks, or Larva Labs, the company behind CryptoPunks, announced that they were going to be launching a new NFT called Meebits. But that if you currently held one of their previous projects, such as a CryptoPunk, you would get a free Meebit. My mind was literally blown. I was like, oh my God, this is literally a art dividend. I didn't even know that thing could exist. And all of a sudden I started thinking, what other financial instruments, what other sort of financial products, what other sort of like distributions or value, essentially value exchanges could occur through this NFT platform. And now I feel like I'm starting to see the matrix. It feels almost limitless when we're talking about those things. But rather than go down the rabbit hole of the matrix, let's talk about how you guys can get started if you want to start exploring the world of MetaMask. So I asked you here to do a screen share and just kind of walk us through exactly what you can expect when it comes to signing up for MetaMask. And now we do a screen share here. This is a dummy account, so you're not going to hack in and be able to steal all my NFTs or anything like that. So it's just a dummy account. So never, ever, ever do what Shahir is about to do here, which is share your seed phrases, because you're not going to make it if you do that. But we wanted to show you guys exactly what the experience was like so that you understood at home, to hopefully, demystify, make it easier if you want to ease your way into the world of MetaMask. So let's pull up that video.
All right, guys, now we're going to be talking about a digital hot wallet called Metamask. Now, a Metamask is basically a digital wallet that allows you to buy, store, and send and swap tokens on its app. So it's very simple. There's multiple ways of downloading it. You could either do it as a browser extension or as a mobile app. I personally prefer the browser extension because I'm not too experienced with the mobile, and I prefer it on the desktop. But pretty much it equips you with a key vault, secure login, token wallet, and a token exchange. Pretty much everything you need to manage your digital assets. So we're going to go ahead and get started by doing the entire setup. So it's going to be a quick tutorial on MetaMask. So first what you're going to want to do is go to the Chrome Web Store, and in the search bar, put in MetaMask. It usually will be the first option, but just double check, make sure there are a lot of users who have downloaded it already. Just take a look at the ratings, because you don't want to download a scam of an extension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to confirm it. So I'm going to add it to the extension, Chrome extension, and go through the entire process. Okay, Suite is made a shortcut for me so I can see my extensions. What I want to do is I want to pin it right here, and I want to get started. Now it gives you two options. So are you new to MetaMask? No, I already have a seed phrase. So if you already have an account and you want to import your previous seed phase to recover your account, you'd want to click here. However, we're looking to set up a brand new account, so we're going to be creating a new wallet. Next, it prompts us to help us improve MetaMask. All this does is basically it will gather some of the information to basically do a better experience, or to conduct a better experience for its users. So it's just going to collect some data from you. I don't mind. I always want a good experience, so I'm going to agree to it. Next, it's going to want me to input a password. So I'm just going to put a secure password in there and confirm. I already read the agrees to the terms of use. Create. And now what it's going to want to do is secret backup phrase. Now this phrase is really important, okay? This is your secret backup phrase. You got to make sure you guard this with your life. Never disclose your backup phrase with anybody, because if someone gets if someone gets your 12-word phrase, your account is pretty much gone. Your account is pretty much gone, and it's hard to even recover your account without this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of paper and I'm just going to write this. Now, what you guys also want to do is secretly put this in a vault or anywhere that you won't lose it, or because writing it on paper is good. However, if that paper gets damaged, it can backfire on you. So I've already wrote it on a piece of paper. I'll make sure I put it in a secure place afterwards. Now, once you've wrote it down, you want to click next, and then it's going to want you to confirm your secret seed backup phrase. So what I'm going to want to do is put in the phrase in the same order that it was written. Obviously, this will be blocked, so you guys can't see this. But I'm just going to quickly wrap this up. All right. Okay. Okay. Border. Gotcha. And then I'm going to press confirm. And now we're being congratulated. You've passed this test. Keep your seed phrase safe. It's your responsibility. And really, guys, you have to make sure that you keep that seed phrase really, really secure, especially if you're looking to put or store some money in there for temporary reasons or even long-term. I wouldn't recommend long-term since it is a hot wallet. What I do recommend is using cold storage for it. But now we're in the app itself. We're in the application. This is what it looks like. This is your account. Just gives you account details. This is really cool. So if I ever want to transfer some Ether into this account, all I can do is scan this QR code and it will immediately go in here. Or what I can do is copy and paste this Ethereum address. Now I would want to just rename it so I'm familiar with it. So now I know it's the Ether wallet. I can go my activity, nothing's there. Now, what I like to personally do is I like to connect a hardware wallet to my MetaMask every single time. So I do have a few ledgers which I connect with. So every time I'm doing a transaction on MetaMask, it wants me to confirm on my ledger device that yes, this transaction is valid and it's confirmed on my ledger, because no one can, worst case scenario, God forbid, worst case scenario, if my MetaMask was to be hacked, it would be hard for the hacker to take out the Ether or any other cryptocurrency without the permission of the ledger. Okay, so that's very important. I definitely highly, highly recommend this. And this is just for your safety moving forward. Now, few important things. You can obviously buy Ether directly on MetaMask. So there's a few ways you can directly deposit Ether if you have Ether on a separate exchange. Let's just say you have it on Shakepay or you have it on Binance. You could scan the QR code and send it. Or what you can do is you can use your debit card to purchase it. And you have the ability to do that here in Canadian dollars. Pretty simple. That's that. Aside from that, you can also send Ether or any other cryptocurrency that you're looking to transact. And all you got to do is you got to just put in the public address right here, and then you'll add the recipient. What you can also do is they have an option where you can swap tokens, where you can turn ETH into any other token. So it's almost like token exchange. And all these are Ethereum-based applications, decentralized applications. So yeah, that is actually pretty much it, guys. It's nothing too serious. If I want to go to, let's just say, OpenSea, right? If I want to go to OpenSea, what it's going to want me to do is it's going to want me to sign in. And then I basically give permission from my MetaMask that yes, connect my MetaMask to the OpenSea, and now I'm connected. So this is a brand new account, so I don't have any NFTs, but I can go ahead, and if I wanted to purchase some NFTs, I could do so. Imagine if I want to purchase this NFT, buy now. Obviously, I don't have the sufficient amount of Ether in there to purchase these, so I can't, but you can definitely do it. Even if you go on any other, if you go on Larva Labs, for example, all you have to do is, usually there's an option, especially if it's in the extension taskbar, you just go on allow access to MetaMask, and then from there on you can connect with MetaMask and then give permission, and you're all good. All right, yeah, we should be good. This is the actual MetaMask. I don't know why it wasn't removing its field then, but yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. I hope that was clear, and it's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. It's pretty simple just to transact back and forth. You can also create an account, so you can create multiple accounts on the same wallet, and yeah, feel free to just create a MetaMask account and just experiment with it, see if it works for you. I actually prefer this wallet compared with any other wallets because just the simplicity. Obviously, it's a hot wallet, so it's not safe. So I highly recommend that you use a ledger or another hardware wallet like Tezor, just so you can get that extra security feature that even though if your account does get hacked, you won't lose your Ether. But aside from that, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys got value out of this tutorial. I hope everything was cleared out. If you do have any other questions, feel free to let me know either in the comments down below, and we can definitely get those answered for you. But until then, guys, I hope you received a lot of value from these sessions, and I hope you guys are enjoying the BTC conference so far. My name is Shahir Shahid, and I will definitely see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thanks again, Shahir. And a reminder, guys, we've got links to everything we discussed today in the video description down below. So if you haven't already grabbed your free copies of the e-guides, or if you didn't pre-register for this free live stream, make sure you click those links in the video description down below. You'll get copies both of the SOS BTC, essentially the beginner's guide to Bitcoin that I was screen sharing in the earlier hour for you guys as well. You'll also be able to get the e-guide on CryptoPunks and Metamask that Shahir put together. And again, this is really just the beginning. So this shouldn't be the end of your journey when it comes to Bitcoin in particular, or even just Ethereum and NFTs. Make sure that you use this as a springboard, jump into the other resources that we've got in both of those e-guides. And that's it. Like, I've got no other part of the funnel here. It'd be wonderful if you guys followed me on social media. I know Shahir and Tim would also love it if you guys would follow them on social media. So there's, again, links in the video description down below. If you want to sign up for Shakepay and have me make a little bit of money, there's a referral or affiliate link in the video description down below that you can click over. And if you sign up and put $100 in, I get $10, you get $10. But again, I honestly don't care if I make money off of this. I'd much rather just see more Canadians stacking sats, getting more curious about Bitcoin, and just really opening up this entire world, because I do believe that Bitcoin is a vote against tyranny. And I don't know, maybe I've fallen off the deep end. Maybe it's the orange pill I take, and maybe I'm just paranoid these days. But everywhere I turn, I seem to see more tyranny, not less. And that makes me more and more supportive of Bitcoin. And it makes it more and more of a hill that I'm willing to die on. So I hope you guys got value from this. Smash the like button, hit subscribe. I'd love this. I'd love it if you would share this video with those in your life that are maybe interested in Bitcoin, but maybe they're intimidated. Maybe they're scared. Maybe they're not a technophile, right? Maybe they're like, I'm a technophobe. I'm not good with technology. I'm scared I'm going to get hacked. I'm scared someone's going to steal all my money. Don't put your life savings into this day one. Ease into it. Start learning. And if you're looking to learn more, again, Twitter's an amazing resource. Also, Clubhouse has some amazing live chats if you guys check that out. And just go read the white paper. Start there. Start reading the other resources. Read the Bitcoin Standard. Follow the other Canadians we talked about in regards to Bitcoin. And if you guys would like to see more Bitcoin content, just a quick reminder, we've actually started a spin-off channel. So this channel here, Matt McKeever, this is primarily real estate investing, and it's going to stay mainly real estate investing and financial independence. But if you want to see more about what I'm doing with Bitcoin, what I'm doing with NFTs, cryptocurrencies, or just my opinions on politics, the world, tyranny, shit like that, go make sure you follow me on YouTube, Matt McKeever Unfiltered. There's also a link in the video description down below. I really appreciate you guys following along on a Saturday afternoon in June. There's a lot of different ways you could have invested your time today. I really appreciate you investing it with me. I hope you guys start stacking sats, and I hope, Canada, that we can get our shit together, because if we can't, SOS, BTC, Stacker Sync, Bitcoin Takeover Canada, because this central banking system's not going to last that much longer, in my opinion. So let's start stacking some sats. Appreciate you guys, and that's it. Thank you.
Hey, buddy! I'm Matt McKeever, and I have something special coming for you!